and welcome to Cutscene Conversation Season 2, Episode 11.
Or 10.
No, it's 11.
Or 12?
No, we've definitely made it all the way to 11.
11. Awesome. Well, how are you?
Man, I am good and I am stressed, both at the same time.
That's great.
Life.
Right? So I think we start off with thanking all 6 of our individuals.
6 guests.
Because
Tim, we had 6 guests
we
in
did.
2 episodes.
And we shattered the illusion of doing it on different days by not changing our shirts like we were supposed to.
Look, we totally had shirts set aside, and it's like, we're going to switch.
Yeah,
and
so everybody,
you'll never know.
They'll never know that the set didn't change. and
even sat in the same
husbands were sitting in the same seats as their wives.
That was fantastic.
That was
thank
great.
y'all so much.
Thank you, everyone. Let's
So
let's get
much.
the names right. We got Wade and Maddie.
Yep.
Wellborn.
Cole and Kat Gandenberger.
Right. And Ty and Daily Lamphere.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, all of you.
I went into it and I'll be honest. I was
Could you be
nervous.
a lot honest?
I could be a lot honest.
Okay.
I was nervous about the ladies interview simply because I'm not as connected with them.
Right.
But literally, I thought to myself afterwards, that could not have gone
It was
any better.
amazing.
They did fantastic.
Yes.
Like
their answers, their responses, their mannerisms. They were so
Fantastic.
nervous beforehand.
it was so good too, though.
But it was awesome. Ladies, y'all did amazing. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
And guys,
you're great.
y'all
You know
crushed
it. It's great. You know,
right. Y'all go
and-
get yourself some Little
and-
Debbie's.
Little Debbie's. And Cole, thank you for such a wonderful question.
Yeah, Cole specifically.
Cole specifically.
For no specific reason are we specifically saying Cole.
Cole. Yep. Well, that brings us to this week.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we kick it off with a good old would you rather.
All right. You want me to go first?
Let's go for it.
All right. Tim, would you rather mentally or physically never age? Only one. Mentally never age or physically never age?
Ooh, mentally.
Mentally?
Yeah.
So
It's not a hard choice.
all the way to the point of body shuts off. You're like, oh, time to, hello, Lord.
Yeah. 100% mentally never age.
For me, man, I see value in both, but I think
Yeah, you're going to be mentally.
I think it has to be
I don't even know
mentally.
why you're him-hawing here.
Well, no, because
Think about it. If you mentally age, but your body doesn't, your mind disappears far long before your body does. And you, as Jesse, cease to be. You ever dealt with somebody with Alzheimer's?
yeah, but it didn't say it's not saying never dies, right?
Never ages, never die.
Well, I mean, if you mentally still age, eventually you'll.
The brain, if the physical brain shuts down, the mental dies.
That's true. And by the way, if y'all hear noise in the background, just celebrate with them.
Yeah. Seniors from the local high school, church, and
Mm-hmm.
everywhere else
They're celebrating tonight.
celebrating their awesomeness of being done with high school.
Yep. Oh yeah, clap for them. Yeah. Woo! Nice. Woo! That was our lovely crew just then.
Yep.
Hey,
the crew.
Oh, the crew.
The crew. That we got a name
Yeah,
for them
that
now.
is
That's great.
now. I like it. I
Born
like
here,
it.
seen here. You've seen it. They're the crew.
The con crew.
The con crew.
Yeah. Like
Concrete?
cutscene conversation. The con crew. We'll work on it. You know, one thing that.
Yeah, I didn't like the con crew.
Yeah, because it does sound like concrete, and that's all you can think now. One thing that I thought was interesting, I think specifically more from the ladies episode last.
Wow, you just skipped my would you rather
Oh,
altogether.
my bad. I'm
Just
you are
all together.
Tim. Forgive me, sir. All right, hit me with it because I
All
think
right.
you're prepared for this.
I am. Not only am I prepared, I brought props.
You brought.
You see
Yeah.
here the starter 3 of
Oh,
Gen
yeah.
1 Pokemon.
Yep.
Right? I
Yep.
think circa 1998.
Yep.
Right? And you see there the Master Sword.
Yep. Yep.
Circa 1991.
Yep.
Would you rather
Oh no.
be Ash or Link?
I think I'd rather be Link. I feel like Ash lives in a world with giant monsters.
So does Link.
But if you notice, I don't know. I still think Link.
You still
I think I'd
Link?
rather live in Hyrule
Okay.
because at least there it's like, yeah, there's monsters, but people still live in a town and they're still chill in their town. Whereas the towns in Pokemon, they still got freaking monsters chilling in
Right.
the town.
So
At any point, you could be like, Pikachu, Thunderbolt, Mike, get him, and
so I think my answer is just this right here. Like,
I know.
yeah,
I
like
know.
Pokemon
Freaking
Master
gotta
all
catch
the
'em
way.
all,
Gotta
bruh.
catch them all.
How many were the original?
151. So I'm an OG collector.
Right.
Like I remember when they first came out, the TCG, the trading card game
Yep.
came out.
What grade were you in?
Middle school.
See, I remember being in 5th grade.
Well, I mean middle school, yeah.
Yeah, and my my 5th grade teacher having a freaking binder with
Yeah,
Pokemon cards.
That was me.
Right? I
Like-
was like, my teacher's cool. He's got Pokemon cards. He's cool.
Was it Mr. Van Ness?
No, it was not
Oh,
Mr. Van Ness.
okay.
It was, I can't remember the gentleman's name.
So I collected all 150 cards because Mew was not an obtainable card at the beginning. It became a promo later on.
Oh, okay. They did that intentional then.
Yeah. But anyway, I collected all 151 and I kind of found out that I believe it was my father who, when cleaning out my old stuff,
As an adult?
trashed them.
Oh, no.
There were cards in there worth thousands. And when I tried to explain it to him, he was like, I don't get it. I was like, baseball cards. And he was like, oh no. And I was like, oh no. You get it now?
Or as Pastor would say, oh, no, my Lord.
Right,
that bit,
exactly.
He do that crack every time he does it.
So speaking of Stevie Flockhart, he will be joining us next week to wrap up season 2.
Yes, it's awesome. We actually asked him, I think at the end of season 1, hey, we've done this podcast.
Right.
We've been blessed to be able to do this so far. Hey, we would love to have you on here, and he was more than willing to. So
Yeah.
it's we're giving him the honor due. We're giving him the final episode, 2 episodes. We'll see what it turns into. But just Pastor Stevie, thank you so much.
Yes.
For
And don't hate us for any of the questions we're going to ask.
don't hate Tim.
Whoa. I don't
Just-
know as much as Jesse does on
What?
this situation.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Love you, Pastor. You're amazing.
So, Jesse and I talked a little bit today about what we wanted to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And we rounded up on what we would like to name the series, not the series, but the episode, Change Management.
Change management.
Because it sounds so adult.
It does. It sounds so adult, but at the same time, it's like, I think everyone's like,
Yeah.
what? No, why?
So when we're talking about change management, we're not talking specifically about work. We're talking about changes in the home, changes in your job, and then changes
At church.
At church.
Right? Because a healthy thing grows, growing things change.
Oof, that's a word.
That is. You're
That is
welcome.
a word.
I literally came up with that on the dome, bruh. Literally, look, don't you
Did
give
you?
me, I did.
Good job. Good
yeah,
job. Yep.
I only get 2 of those a year. I just used one of them on the podcast.
That's awesome. Oh, I'm so glad to take away from your job on that aspect.
Oh man.
So, I think we need to talk. So, what's a recent change? Well, not only your home.
Right.
So, but what are some of the changes you had to deal with moving? I think that's the biggest change, right?
That's like a phase change, right? That's steps. One that starts with the story of how COVID triggered the fact that the housing market weirded out, and that with the housing market spike, the guy we were renting from sold our house out from underneath us. Didn't give us time, right? So now there's change, forced change,
Right.
no choice. What are we going to do? I don't know what we're going to do. I don't know what we're going to do. And then my best friend, John, was like, you are not going to worry about this. Y'all got somewhere to go. As a matter of fact, they threatened me. They said, we don't care what you do, but your wife and kids are going to come here. So you figure out what you want to do, but you're going to y'all are gonna come in here. We're
Right.
gonna provide. And going into it, it's like I was thinking 2-3 months will be out, and it just didn't happen. I think we started officially looking for houses about 5 months in. We were able to be at a point where it's like, all right, let's do this thing. We started looking, and it was just nothing after nothing. And it was funny because the first change in that specific situation was forced.
Yeah.
The second one was desired.
Right.
And then just through that process of God revealing to me, because there was a point where I said to God, and Lord, I've walked through it with him, but I literally said out loud to him, I feel like you've abandoned me.
Yeah.
Hindsight, he didn't.
Right.
And it was very quickly after that moment that I had people speak into my life, and I had the Holy Spirit clear as day say, I haven't abandoned you. It's you hear the storm, you see the storm, and that's all you see. But I'm still here. And then it was funny. We were struggling again with buying a house, with the house process, and I almost was at the point where it's like, is it worth it? Me and Rebecca talked, and it was like, let's just look at renting again. Let's do that. We're struggling with it. So it was a Stephen Furtick from is it Elevation Church?
Okay.
It was just a bit that was on, and it was talking about how there was a cloud in the distance, and that cloud is what brought the storm. But all there was at first was just
A cloud.
just a cloud that barely looked like anything, and it was saying, "Do it again, get up, do it again." And I was like, "Okay, Lord, I get it." And we pursued it. We got it. We pursued it again, and then God blessed us with the home we have now.
Right.
So, we had forced change and we had desired change.
I think that's a great story right there. You have forced change and desired change. So let's look at the difference here, right? So forced change you can't control.
Correct.
You can only control your reaction.
Correct.
So if, like for me, I had an opportunity a couple years ago now. So it was almost a forced change, but I ended up desiring it beforehand. So my in-laws live in an in-law suite next to my house.
Yeah.
I saw the writing on the wall of my mother-in-law's job shutting down, them not being able to afford anything to keep it going, right? Because her income would not be there for the rent. So my mother-in-law and father-in-law live in a mother-in-law suite right next to the house. A couple years ago, I saw the writing on the wall, and I could see where they weren't going to be able to live where they were living. And I told my wife, Jennifer, I was like, hey, I think we need to tell them to come on. And this was, I think, August, September of that year.
Right.
We moved them in. No, it was October. It was October. We moved them in October. December, her job shut down, and they would have had to found somewhere to live. And I think I recognized what God's will was, and I was like, "Hey, I desire this too," and we did that, not knowing that forced change was right around the corner.
You're right, because mine was predicated by force into desire. Whereas yours was recognizing and desire being created into recognizing force was coming right behind it.
Right. And I was able to avoid the force, which would have been worse.
Right. And hear me out. Force change, pain is almost always involved.
Yeah.
Whereas desire change, pain isn't necessarily
It's minimized.
It's minimized. It's not always desired. So literally by recognizing it and desiring the change first, you minimize the pain that they went through.
Well, not only them, but us.
Right.
Because I had started setting it up to be my office. And I had minimal stuff moved over there.
Yep.
But when we made that decision, I was like, it's literally half a day's work to get everything put back the way it was versus I have a setup.
Yes, you do.
I have 5 monitors, 2 PCs, couple things going on in the background, a couple bookshelves. I have a full.
You have an office.
I have a full office. And if I'd have had all that over there, it'd have been like, hey, we need to wait a week while I reorganize the rest of my house to accommodate this. But I think by recognizing that change, beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
It just prepared me for what would have been forced.
Yeah, that's good. That is good.
So also, when we're talking about change, we got to talk about how we carry what we believe through change.
Yep.
So like, if the change is against you, if Jesse needs to change, that's a whole different thing.
It is. Yeah.
If Jesse's going through changes, like with family, like you have a daughter that's in band,
Yep. About to be going into high school marching band.
right? So that's a change,
That's a big change.
right?
Not only, and it's funny because I think it's more of a change for her, but it's like we have to adapt.
Yeah,
I feel like it's a good word, right? She's the one that's going to be going through all the changes, new life, new pace, new structure, and we get to adapt and guide and direct and
right. So you're taking some of the parental hands away.
Yeah.
So, and that's a change that I'm not looking forward to.
Um,
You know, my oldest is going into 3rd grade, so
Right.
I'm good. Like I can wait.
Right. Well, I don't. It's it's funny because I think you're prepared for it in ways that you don't recognize that you're being prepared for it.
Yeah,
Because I was like you, I dreaded the thought. But it gets easier because you watch how independent they start becoming. How me and Rebecca can sleep in the mornings because they get up and take care of themselves.
that's nice.
Right? And we can leave the house and not have to worry about it. Me and Rebecca goes, and again, so what it's done is it's created an opportunity for leadership,
Right.
and then with leadership comes the growth that brings and the change that brings makes it easier when you step into bigger changes, right?
Right.
So stepping into this next phase for her is like it doesn't feel as bad because we've taken all the steps to this point.
Because it's not a forced change.
Because it's not a forced change. It's a desired change.
It is.
Because I want to watch all my kids grow up and be just good people.
Right.
I want them to love people and to be kind-hearted and to be leaders in whatever they do, right? So knowing that, I desire that. There are things you change along the way. You treat them different. You change different things. So
All right. So the last one we want to talk about is change in your church family.
yeah.
Not just moving churches, but if something in your church, like we attend 901.
Yep.
We started in a different building.
Yes, we did. And
And-
we had a forced change.
We had a forced change where we had to move to the building we're in now.
Yep.
And pretty soon there's going to be another forced change.
Yep. Oh, but the thing is with this one, right? The first one was forced change, and yes, we wanted to see what God would do next, but we didn't. It wasn't something we desired. I think now, though, the difference is
We
the
are
force,
desiring it.
but it's mirrored by desire,
Right.
So,
So
which minimizes pain.
exactly. So I was asked to go to a new location and start leading there.
Mm-hmm.
And originally, that was not what I wanted.
Yeah.
I originally was like, I was excited because I was going to get to be this volunteer here
Mm-hmm.
and, perform production duties to the best I could, but as a leader. And I was really, really excited about it. And when I was asked if I would consider going over to the other location, I did. I got a little down about it. And by a little down, I mean, I got mad at myself because I recognized that something I wanted wasn't going to happen. But I took a few days, and I even told the individual who asked me, I said, wherever I'm needed, because that's what we're told to say.
Right.
Like that's what we're taught. We're taught to say wherever I'm needed.
Right.
And I had to go home and I had to talk to my wife. And I was like, hey, I've been asked to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And she knew immediately that was not what my desire was.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, you're supposed to go where you're supposed to go.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah, that's really simple to say.
It sounds real good. Don't it?
like, hey, that sounds great. Like, I hate it when it's cold outside. You walk outside and it's cold outside.
Right.
And I stole that from Mr. Podcast Mike.
Oh man. Speaking of Podcast Mike, I heard he's going to check out a new library.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Right?
So let's throw it to Mike.
This is Podcast Mike at the opening of a new library with a public service announcement to get out there and enjoy some good books. Reading is fundamental. This one hadn't been checked out in a while.
I'm glad it's him and not us.
Right.
I mean,
Look,
somebody's
he's-
got to do the field work, right?
Right. But that's exciting for the library.
Right. Totally.
That's,
I mean, excited is the word.
Yeah, I wouldn't check that book back in.
Check the thesaurus for that word.
Oh, that's a good word. But finishing up our.
So speaking of exciting,
Mm-hmm.
getting back into, you're going to go where you're supposed to go.
Mm-hmm.
I had to reevaluate my desires,
Mhm.
and I realized that I was putting me first.
Mm.
And I had to check it, and I had to go, okay, I've got to desire what God's got for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I checked it. I was like, cool. Guess I'm going where I'm supposed to go.
That's it.
And I love my wife, and she's got great wisdom. And I'm not saying that sarcastically. Like, she said, you got to go where you're supposed to go.
That's it.
And I just had to I had to remove self from it.
Right. And that's the difficult part, because here's the reality of change like that. As much as we think we can change ourselves, we are limited. Only the Spirit of God and Him can actually change us.
Yeah.
We have to just be willing. You have to stop and just say, I'm willing, Lord, here we are. Here I am. I'm tired of trying this on my own, so
Right.
I need you to guide me through this one.
Well, and it's not just through this one,
Mhm.
right? Like, and that's something I'm realizing more and more.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, all right, God, I'm giving you this one.
Yeah, you're not
It's
just
like-
saying I'm available.
Different story. No, I'm not just going to him when I try everything else. I'm getting to the point now where it's like, let's go to God first. Right? And
Dude, that's such a good place to finally get to. But the thing is,
It's so hard.
It took change, both desired and forced,
Yes.
to get you here.
Yes.
And God uses both.
Oh, he does. He does.
Or let me rephrase that.
He allows
He
both.
he allows both. He doesn't cause both.
Right.
I don't believe he'll cause. He doesn't want to bring us pain. That's not his goal. But he'll use it.
Yeah.
So he's taking
Well,
advantage of the situation.
he'll use what's happening to you
Mhm.
to teach.
That's it.
100%.
Right.
And it's that kind of thing, the going to God first and realizing that it's not, hey, I've hit the end of my rope. What can you help me with? It's before we even look at the rope, hey, let's start with
Right.
you.
Right.
Like every morning, like what's up, God? Like
What's new?
yeah.
What's new, Lord? I'm here.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
He's
man.
faithful to be there in return.
So I think we ended up with a really good message here, hopefully for some
Right.
people.
Some forced change should be allowed
Right.
to. You should allow it to change you in preparation for the next season,
Definitely.
because when
Well,
you
forced change, you don't have a choice.
you don't. But
Right?
if you have the choice to not let it change you. Let's
That's
be
true.
honest.
That's true.
So don't waste the pain of a forced change.
Don't waste the
Look,
pain.
there's my second one.
Oh, it's gone.
that's
It's gone.
for the year. Oh man.
Well-
Well, you're worth it, podcast.
That's right. All 12 of you.
You're gonna keep saying 12.
Every time.
Let's go.
Let's
So-
go. Well, for Cutscene Conversations, I'm Tim.
And I'm Jesse.
We'll see you next time.